Friends, partners and sponsors were privileged to assist Greg Milano in assembling the adaptive bikes that were used by differently able cyclists during the World Disability Day celebrations at Kenyatta University. More bikes were donated to different schools by Inclusive Cycling International.
And then I also really want to thank the Christopher Machin, the representative from the U.S. Embassy, for being here and really recognize that this whole project is funded by a grant from the U.S. Embassy. So thank you to the U.S. United States for funding this. And it's not just this. Next weekend we're going to Nakuru and doing a series of events in Nakuru as well. So we're bringing inclusive cycling to other places in Kenya, and that's because of this grant from the U.S. Embassy. So thank you so much for that. And then most of all, I want to thank Jane Waitara, my partner in this project, who, without Jane, this absolutely wouldn't be possible. And not just this, I need to finish the story that Jane started about meeting me, and really recognize that after I met Jane, during when she was the Mandela Fellow, it's what got me excited about doing international programming. I'd been doing this work in the United States for 15 years, and it was my contact with Jane and the other Washington Mandela Fellows, and just recognizing, wow, these are the most talented people in the world. These young leaders coming out of Africa, facing all the challenges that many of you face here, and then developing these incredible skills that you have. And I was like, I want to work with these people. This is what I want to do. And I actually quit my job. I had a full-time job in the United States, and I quit my job and I created this nonprofit, Inclusive Cycling International, because of my contact with Jane and the potential that I see that people like Jane have to really change the world, and the opportunity to work like that in a collaborative relationship. So I also have to thank the Mandela Washington Fellowship and the United States for creating that program, because without it, this wouldn't be happening. That kid up there on the bike who's riding a bike in Tanzania, he wouldn't be riding a bike without the work that Jane's done to inspire me and really work with me to do these programs. So thank you, Jane. This is all because of you. So thank you. So just really briefly, I just want to talk about why I'm so committed to inclusion and why I think inclusive cycling is really an effective tool for inclusion. And then we're going to go ride some bikes. So I get asked a lot. People say, why are you so passionate about inclusion, Greg? Why are you so excited about disability rights? You look like you're a able-bodied white guy with all the power in the world. Why are you so excited about inclusion? And for me, it's really simple. It's that the strongest team is the diverse team. The strongest team is not made up of people who are all the same. When you're picking the people to be on your soccer team, you don't pick 11 people who are really good at goalkeeping. You pick a goalkeeper, you pick a striker, you pick a defender, you pick all these different people. And I really know that it's the same for everything that we do in the world. I'm 100% convinced that the strongest team is the diverse team. And so I want to be on a team with all of you. I don't want to be trying to come up with all the solutions that are going to solve the problems of the world with people that are like me. So I'm really committed to diversity, and I'm really committed to inclusion. And I'm especially committed to the inclusion of people with disabilities, because I see all of this potential. I see all of this talent. People like Jane, people like these artists that we saw today, people like Dr. Mangai, who, if they weren't able to get into this building, if they didn't have access to assistive technologies, we wouldn't be able to be appreciating all of their talents. And the world would be a weaker place. Our team would be a weaker team. We wouldn't be able to solve the problems and the challenges that we need. So I really believe in diversity and commitment, and that's where my passion for this comes from. And I'm proud to be here representing the United States, because I really do believe that that's one of the things that makes the United States a really strong place, is our diversity. And we're not perfect at it, right? It's always a process. We're always learning. You read the news, you see the challenges we're facing. But we're working through those, and I think as we work through those, we're continuing to build a more diverse culture and a more diverse society, and that makes us a stronger place. So that's why I'm so committed to it. And why do these bikes do that so well? The bikes do it so well because on these bikes, everybody's the same. It's not just about Oh, the people with paraplegia are out hand cycling together. Oh, the people who are visually impaired are over here riding the tandems together. Oh, the people who don't need special equipment are, so we're all doing the same thing. We're all riding together. And so the bikes really embody that idea that just change the technology a little bit, change the equipment a little bit, share the knowledge, and all of a sudden we're all equals. And everybody gets to do the same thing. So that's to me why the bikes are so powerful at doing that. And I think when we go out there, you'll see that and you'll appreciate that. And I don't think I really had too much more to say. That's kind of my big points. Maybe as the keynote speaker, I'm supposed to speak longer, but I'm gonna put the riding bicycles into part of my keynote speech, and I'm really excited to get out there and do all of that. So with that, thank you very much. Asante sana. Let's move forward in the program.
So, can everybody hear me? Yeah, Mambo. Okay. So, right before the demo, I just need to finish my keynote speech. I forgot one thing. The one thing was just how are we going to do this? How are we going to have these bicycles here in Kenya, right? So,
is that better? Can you hear me? Okay. The last thing is just how we're going to have these bikes in Kenya. And it's a multi-stage process. The first stage is the awareness raising, right? So that's what we're doing right now. This is the awareness raising. And after this project, there'll be all of these bicycles here, plus a couple more. That they will stay here in Kenya. Some of them now belong to KCCL. Some of them will be in Nakuru, and some of them will be here in Nairobi, being managed by Positive Exposure. But they'll be available for people to use. So we'll figure that out. Then the second stage is sort of really building demand, right? So riding these bikes, realizing how many people want them, figuring out that different schools want them. So then we have the demand. And then the third stage, and you can all help with all of these stages, the third stage is going to be figuring out how to manufacture these bikes here in Kenya so that they don't have to be manufactured in other countries and then imported to Kenya. So that's the part that I'm really excited to pursue and figure out is once people realize these bikes are valuable, is to have them manufactured here in Kenya. So that's that. I'm not going to use this for the demo. I'm just going to have you come a little closer because I'll be having to grab the bike.
just talk about the different bikes so that you all kind of know what kind of person will use each bike. And then when we move over there, you'll be able to figure that out, and we have volunteers who will help you figure out how to get off and on the bikes, okay? So I'm going to start with the bicycles over here. So all of these bicycles here. Now these bicycles here, all of these bicycles are bicycles that you're going to ride these bicycles if your arms are stronger than your legs, right? So you're somebody who wants to use your arms. It's going to be all of these bicycles here. They're all a little bit different. These two are kind of upright, almost like a wheelchair. The nice thing about them is that they're easy to get off and on, or easier. They turn in a circle pretty nice. So they'll kind of turn like this, pretty easy to turn. And then this one, we're gonna have to figure out something's wrong. We'll have to fix this one before we start. But once it's moving, here, my friend, ride that one. Yeah, you'll see. And then when you want to stop, you go backwards to stop. So forwards, to stop, go backwards. Okay? These ones here, these are the same, but these ones, it's a little bit more difficult to get onto the bicycle, right? So we can assist you moving from your wheelchair onto the bicycle. But again, you pedal. Now this one I can go really nice and fast. There's another one somewhere. Anyhow. Oh, we'll fix that one. Okay. So we also have two hand cycles. These two, we have this one and another one. These are the same. But this one, in order to do this, to make it stop, you have to squeeze the brake lever. Ready? So you have to be someone who has a hand that's strong enough to squeeze. So this is the one, if you want to win a race, this is the racing bike. This one is very fun. Okay, so that one's a racing bicycle. Where they don't have the ability to balance, they can ride this bicycle, right? One arm. I could even ride this bicycle with one leg if I needed to. So this is just a very easy bicycle to ride like this. It's also a nice bicycle if you're visually impaired. Maybe you can see a little bit, but can't see enough. So you're nervous on the two-wheel bike, you can ride this one. Because at any time you can stop and you're safe, you won't fall over. So that's this one. The difference between, we have two. This one, if I want to stop, I have to squeeze the brakes. So this one, if I pedal and I stop pedaling, I'm still going. If I want to stop, I have to squeeze the brakes. This one is the same, but this one, when I pedal forward, it goes forward. And when I want to stop, I just stop pedaling. And I can actually pedal it backwards. So this one, I don't have to squeeze the brakes to stop. So if you don't have the ability to squeeze your hands, you can ride this one because we can take this one, and we can take this one. We can take this wheel off, and we can put this one onto this one, and then we have a bicycle for two people. We can take this bicycle. This also has the connection on the back. So we can take this bicycle, we can put this bicycle on the back. And then you can have, for example, you can have somebody who, maybe they're not very strong, and then you have someone back here, maybe they're blind, but they're really strong. So this bike is like the super inclusion bike, because you get to combine your strengths to be really powerful as a team. So that's a great bike. It's only for children, okay? So don't jump on this bike if you're an adult or you're big. So this bike, you have to be someone maybe about this big to ride. The nice thing about this bike is you can have someone in back who can help push it and steer it. So we'll be helping the people get on this bike. So don't jump on this bike and just go right off. If you ride this bike, work with us and we'll help you figure out which bike to ride. So these ones again, these are really good if maybe you're nervous about riding by yourself. You can't ride a bike by yourself. Like a small child can sit on the front here, and then the adult or the student who's going to help is in the back. The difference between these two, bring it up, is on this one, the person in the back is doing the steering. So I'm reaching from the back and I'm steering if I want to. So the person in the front can also steer, but the person in the back can steer. This one, on this one, the person in the front is doing the steering, right? So on this one, the person who can't see, who's visually impaired, will be in the back, and the other person will be in the front. All right. We have two of these. So I think now we're gonna move over to the yard. Yeah, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to keep it orderly. So basically we'll maybe create like a line for each bike, and then we'll have volunteers who here will be helping you get on the bikes, and people go and ride. And let's focus, like cycling is super inclusive, right? That's one of the best things, is that even people who don't need to ride the bikes can. But like today, since we have so many people and we don't have that much time, let's try to focus on the people who really need to ride these kind of bikes. So like if you can ride a traditional two-wheel bike, you know, sometimes maybe today you just watch and enjoy, and then let the people who like they would never be able to ride a bike unless they use these ones. We'll use those ones today. And we're gonna stay here past lunch. We're gonna be here until the afternoon, so we don't have to get everybody done now, even though the official program ends. We're gonna keep going until maybe 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, I don't know, whenever we get tired. And then tomorrow we're also doing it. Yeah. At Karura. So tomorrow we also have another event at Karura Forest. So we'll figure out at the end of today how to make sure you know how to find that information, or Jane will share it. So.
Oh, wow. My, oh my. It has been a successful day right here at Kenyatta University, where the 12th annual event for people with disability, sports day for inclusion, people with disability has been, and it has been a successful event. So right after this, we're going to hear some of the insights of people who maybe have disability or have people who they know have disability. And of course, we're here just to champion and make sure that we create awareness for people with disability. This is Alice Wanjira Mwangi, and you're watching DigiTV. All right, so I'm here with Greg Milano,
Exactly.
right? Who is the director actually for this organization and event.
Yes.
And it has been a successful event. It has been amazing. We've seen people with disability. You can see them running out there.
Yes.
So what gave you, that calling that you're supposed, to help people with disabilities?
Well, I talked about this earlier today when we were being interviewed, that, to me, it's not really about helping people with disabilities.
Okay.
It's about helping all of us make like a better, stronger team.
Okay.
Because I really believe that the strongest team is a team that has diverse skills and talents on it.
Okay.
And so, being part of the process of making sure that people with disabilities are able to participate fully in our society, it means that we all benefit. It means that our whole team gets stronger because all of these people are able to participate.
Yeah,
so
sure.
that's my reason for doing it.
Okay. So what do you think that cycling helps maybe in eradicating the inequality,
Yeah.
In Kenya?
Yeah. So one of the coolest things about cycling is that it's that once you have the equipment that makes it possible for people with disabilities to do it, then they're doing the exact same thing that people who don't have disabilities are doing.
Yeah,
So if you look out here, there's like this guy riding by right now.
yeah.
He's just a regular guy riding by on his bike, and the people over there are doing the same thing.
Yeah, sure.
So it really creates that sense of equality and the achievement and the ability to do the same thing that everybody else can do.
Yeah, sure. So what are some of the health benefits for, cycling, especially for people with disability?
Yeah. Well, I mean, first of all, there's like the psychological health benefit. Like we just know that when you exercise, your body produces hormones that makes you feel good. And that's why most people do sports, right? If you look at the world, think about how many of us do sports, how many kids play soccer, because we know when you do sports, it makes you feel good. So there's the psychological health benefits. And then there's the physical health benefits of just exercising your heart, exercising your muscles, getting stronger. And then specifically for some disabilities, for example, for young children with cerebral palsy, riding the bicycle actually loosens up their leg muscles. So it can be really truly therapeutically benefit and help their leg muscles develop for their future.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So what would you say about today's event? Has it come out as you planned?
It's much bigger than I expected. I'm amazed by the organization, by Jane Kenyatta, and by the Kenyatta University bringing out all these people, and KCCL. So, for me, it's like an enormous success to see this many people riding bikes and having fun together.
All right. So what are some of your parting shots, for anyone who is watching this right about now? There are a lot of people with disability, but most of the time we don't take care of them. So what advice would you give people who are watching this today?
My main advice would be just look for the hidden talent that's in everybody. Don't assume that just because somebody can't walk that they can't become a doctor or they can't become an engineer. So just think about the fact that everybody has a hidden talent, and don't be closed or have your mind closed to the idea that people don't have the ability to do something just because they have a disability.
Okay, there you have it. That was Greg Milano, the executive director for this amazing event. Thank you so much. You're doing a very, very good job, and we appreciate you. And that's why we're here to support you. And I hope everyone else who's watching this will also do the same. Thank you very much, Greg.
Thank you for welcoming me to Kenya.
Okay, asante sana.
Asante sana.
All right, here I am with Chris, one of the partners for the event, right? Did I get that right?
Yes, I'm Chris Machen. I'm the cultural attaché at the U.S. Embassy, and it's a pleasure for us to be able to support inclusive cycling and the project that they're doing here today in Kenya in partnership with all of their many Kenyan partners.
Yeah, sure. So how has the event been like to you? Did you expect this? Like there was a huge turnout of people.
Yes, well, I think it was more people than we expected.
Wow.
I think definitely the word got out, and Kenyatta University today, partnering with them on their 12th annual Disability Awareness Day, I think was really a great idea, and Kenyatta University did a great job organizing for a really interested and engaged audience.
So how did you come up with such an event? This one is the 12th annual event of, the Sports for Inclusion Disability guys. So how did you come with such an event?
Sure. Well, for us at the embassy, we've sponsored the inclusive cycling portion of the program, and I think Greg and his team at Inclusive Cycling International partnered with Jane at Positive Engagement, one of the partners here, who brought the event to Kenyatta, and they found out that they were having their 12th annual day, and so it all worked out. At the embassy, we're proud to support the inclusive cycling program because it promotes all of the values of inclusive societies, giving everybody the chance to participate equally. And that's democracy, right?
Yeah, it is. So do you think it's safe for people with disability or limited mobility to do cycling?
Sure. Well, I think it's definitely true. I know there are many famous Kenyan cyclists who have gone Cape to Coast or Cape to Cairo, I think, on cycles. And I know that there are many Paralympians from Kenya as well and cyclists. So definitely, I would say we're today, as people experience things for the first time, I'm glad that Inclusive Cycling brought some helmets and their safety on hand for everyone who's experiencing it for the first time. I would say, driving on if you're going to go onto the streets of Kenya, you're a very brave person, whether you're driving a car, whether you're riding a bicycle, whether you're sighted or not. But I think, yes, there's a way for everyone. I think that's what today's message is. There is a way for everyone to participate. Sometimes it takes a little bit of creative thinking, sometimes it takes a little bit of planning, but that's why we do an event like this. We learn to solve problems together, and different perspectives bring different perspectives, right? Different perspectives offer a unique opportunity to solve problems and define problems maybe you didn't even know were there and solve those.
Yeah, sure. Do you feel like in Kenya we have enough infrastructure for cycling, or do we need to improve?
Well, I think every country in the world can improve. I think if everywhere in the world, no matter how well prepared you are or how much you think things will work and work well for people with disabilities, I think you always encounter something where you haven't thought of one. I've done plenty of different programs, and I've found that even when I'm trying my very best, I always maybe miss one aspect, so that's why you really need a team around you that is a diverse team and that brings a bunch of different perspectives to bear on solving a problem. And if you do that, then maybe you'll be better prepared.
So maybe you can tell people who are watching us today. We are at DigiTV, by the way, and we also have a show known as Neuro Diaries, where we bring up people with disabilities, just to talk about and create awareness about disability. So the people who are watching you out there, what can you tell them? How can we make sure that we include even the disability guys and make sure at the end of the day that they also get what we also can get?
Sure. Well, I would say, it starts with coming to an event like this. Yeah, sure. I would say it starts with making a friend or making a conscious choice to go meet somebody who has a disability. And once you've met someone yourself, it will create new pathways in your brain that you start looking at things differently. When I was at a previous assignment in a different country, we had a wheelchair tennis player come to visit, and we wanted to go shopping for some souvenirs. And that was the first time I had to stop and think, does this store have a step? Does this store have a door? Uh-oh.
All right.
Well, that's why like I said, that's why we have the helmets. So, everyone's, people learning to ride bikes fall off bikes. It happens all the time. I remember when I was learning to ride a bike, I ran into my mailbox at my parents' house. So Yeah, it's normal. But yeah, so I would say, but if you meet somebody, anyway, like this woman I met in a previous position, and I had to think, how does she get into the store? And that was the first time I thought about that, and now it's something that I think about from when I'm meeting new people or in a new environment. So I would say if people want to be involved or people want to have a role in promoting inclusivity, it all starts with meeting somebody who's not like you.
Wow. All right. Thank you so much, Chris, for that. All right. How has your experience been in Kenya?
Sure, great. I mean, I've been here 2.5 years, more or less. Unfortunately, a lot of that has been under COVID, so I haven't been able to travel and see as much of the country as I want. But I've met a lot of great people. Only this much of them through a Zoom screen. But it's been great because the conversations we have are national. If I go visit somewhere, I meet just people from that area. But if I have a Zoom call, or a Zoom event, I can have in one room 100 people from Turkana, from Mombasa, from Nakuru, from Kisumu, all in one event, all at one time, sharing their thoughts on Kenya-US relations.
All right. So have you learned some of the words, like Swahili words?
Well, today I learned the word Niko Sawa.
Oh, Niko
from the
Sawa.
song today, so Niko Sawa. So I hope I can use that. At today, the gentleman, what is his name? Darling Boy, was singing his own creation, Niko Sawa.
Okay, sema habari yako.
Oh, well, Mazuri sana. Can I say that? Okay. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much, Chris, for sharing your insights on that. And we hope that you continue doing the great work that you're doing. It's not for granted, and I know God is watching everything.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
All right. That was Chris, and thank you so much for watching. This has been the 12th annual event for, the people with disability. All right. Here I am with Jane. Jane, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
All right. So how did you find yourself today at the 12th annual event for, people with disability, Sports Day? How did you find yourself here today?
So we have been partners with Kenyatta University on many occasions.
Right.
I'm the founder of Positive Exposure Kenya. So we are an albinism education and advocacy organization. And we do advocacy through different creative ways, including cycling, climbing mountains, and many other ways of raising awareness. So when I learned about their 12th Disability Awareness Day here in the university, and I was already planning an inclusive cycling event. I asked them if we could actually partner and have the inclusive cycling event at the university, but also push for inclusive sports as the general theme for the day, because in many times you find like people with disabilities are left out in a lot of spaces, but when it comes to issues of sports and recreation, they're even forgotten completely. I don't know when last we saw like a gym that is accessible enough for persons with disabilities, or just even things like basic like cycling. Every parent wants to buy their child a bicycle for a birthday gift, but for children with disabilities, what do they have to get? Nothing. So introducing something like cycling to persons with disabilities creates an opportunity or a platform where both people with and without disabilities can coexist and recreate together in a very inclusive manner, because a lot of the bicycles that we are using for persons with disabilities are adapted, and they are adapted in a way that they can be used by both people with and without disabilities. For example, a bike that a person with visual impairment or autism needs to use will always have a guide, a sighted guide or a parental guide or somebody who is able to like cycle together with this person. So even in terms of like relationships and existing together, you will find that with cycling there are more ways to create more harmony and to like accommodate each other in the spaces of inclusion.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so what do you think that maybe we as Kenyans could do to make sure that we include these people even in things like sports or any activity, to ensure that equality at the end of the day is adhered to?
So, like inclusion has to be deliberate, or rather disability inclusion is a deliberate effort that all of us should commit ourselves to doing, so that we ensure that we leave no person behind. So I think as Kenyans, regardless of whatever sport you're planning. Let's say you're planning a race or a marathon or volleyball or football. Think how people with disabilities can participate in those mainstream activities. That's the true spirit of inclusion. Instead of thinking like, oh, those ones can only do this and not do this. There are no limits to what persons with disabilities can do. And like you've seen today, would you ever have thought of people with disabilities like cycling in free spirits? No. So we've just created the platform and are deliberate in ensuring that people with disabilities are exposed to the spaces and to the opportunities that are there for them to grab.
All right. So I understand that you are advocating for creating awareness for people with disability. So I'm just curious to understand, like, why have a soft spot for people with disability?
I have a disability myself, and I have gone through the hands of stigma or the full glare of discrimination. So I've been discriminated in many instances. And for me, even when I was a child, I always wished that no other child gets treated the way I was treated. And that's really what makes me, every day I wake up, I live to create an impact or to make it better for the future generations of Janes who are born with disabilities.
So at what time did you decide, you know what, regardless of my skin color or my disability, I'm going to love myself. I'm going to put myself there as, a champion to ensure that everyone else, follow my footstep or, believe in themselves just as to do. What inspired you or what was the turning point for you?
My turning point, like 10 or 12 years ago, actually, like before 2009 there, every time somebody said something discriminatory towards me, I would cry. I would cry and start feeling I don't belong to the society and things like that. And I made personal efforts to work on my self-esteem, to teach myself about my disability, and to start using that self-advocacy to make other people understand the needs and how they can coexist with people with disabilities. So I would say I think I got too much of it, like too much of the stigma, until I was like, I cannot continue letting the society define me. So I create spaces where I am my own voice, or persons with disabilities are their own voice, and they represent themselves the best way they would want to be represented.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jane, for sharing your insight and, of course, believing in yourself and ensuring every day people are following your footsteps. And, of course, you are a role model, championing, for self, acceptance, which is something that is good. And I feel like we should invite you to our show known as It's Real, where we express, and inspire the world about what you're doing and where we've come from, which I feel like it's a good thing. Are you accepting our invitation?
I will be very happy to join It's Real.
Oh, okay.
Of course, it's been real.
It has been real, right?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. That was Jane promising us that it's real next episode, actually. She's the one who's going to be gracing our studios. Right here we have Matt, and of course he has been part. I have watched you, like you are doing some exercise here, like the cycling, and that was really amazing. So how are you today?
I'm doing good.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, so introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name's Matt, and I live in Utah, the United States. I'm part of Inclusive Cycling International, so we came out to get more people active and riding bikes.
All right. So how has the experience been according to you? Has it? Did you expect this?
I wasn't expecting a crowd this big. Wow. This is a lot of people, and I'm really, really stoked to have this many people get the chance to go out and ride adaptive bikes.
All right. All right. So, do you think that Kenya has done enough to ensure that we include the people with disability in activities such as sport that you guys have today? Actually, this is your 12th annual event for cycling and sports. So, do you think we have done enough in Kenya?
So this is the college's 12th year doing this.
Okay.
Not cycling, just this event for people with disabilities. I don't know I'm not here long enough. I'm from the United States, so I'm happy to be part of it and to help Kenya do more for adaptive sports.
Yes, but according to you, do you feel like we have enough infrastructure, especially for those cycling bicycles? Do you think we have enough?
No, definitely not. That's why we're here. We're bringing bikes so that more people can have bikes.
So what would you love to tell Kenyans, to participate in ensuring that we spread awareness about disability guys and of course include them in activities such as sports or what you guys are doing today?
Yeah, we're all humans. I'm a human, you're a human. No matter if you're able-bodied or if I'm disabled, we still have the same brain. So it's super important to just be active and to be outside. I think that there's a lot of opportunity here in Kenya to do more.
All right. So, what is your parting shot? How has the experience been today, according to you?
Oh, it's been great. The Kenyan community has been amazing. I feel so welcomed and loved.
All right. Yeah. So I'm here with my brother here. So maybe you can start telling us about yourself and how has the experience of the sports for disability guys been for you?
Yeah, first of all, I would like to take this opportunity to say thank you for all the organizers. My name is Johnson Mrinzi from School of Education at Kenyatta University. Yeah, taking a bachelor's degree in education.
Okay.
So the experience today was awesome. I have really enjoyed myself. As you can see, I'm still on my helmet. So I think it has been so great, yeah? Yeah. And anybody could not have afforded to miss this.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So what are some of the benefits of having such event for people with disabilities?
Okay, it gives us an opportunity for us to exercise. Exercise is very important for us.
Yeah.
But you may find out that most of us, we always stay in our closets, so we don't go outside to make some activities. But this particular activity gives us an opportunity to exercise.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and also it refreshes us. Yeah, it helps us, our minds to relax from the academic work, then so that we can think again for the other part of the semester.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you feel like such an event, do you think we have enough infrastructure in our country for, having such events?
Honestly, I can say we still have a shortage of equipment. Yeah. Otherwise, we could have holding this particular event more frequently. But you might find out that we only have it maybe once in a year or twice a year because we don't have a lot of equipment to accommodate each and everyone.
All right.
So yeah, like now we are sharing the bicycles. You see. Yeah. So maybe we are hoping in the days to come we can be able to access those equipment.
All right.
Yeah.
So what do you think that Kenyans can do, or rather anyone, from whatever sector they are in, to ensure that we have, inclusion even for people with disability in our countries?
Okay, I think it's not a matter of the government to chip in and do everything, but we can have some non-organization programs or some people who can volunteer and support this activity so that even the people from the interior can get access to these services, you see. Yeah, so I think even apart from the government, the individuals can also chip in and support the activity. Yeah.
Okay, and do you think that actually we have done enough to ensure that we include the disabled people in activities, in anything that we do? Do you think that we have involved you enough? Or what can we do better to make sure that we include the disability people?
Okay, I can say we are almost there. I can say we are almost there, yet we are not yet there. Yeah, because truly, this activity normally happens in the learning institutions. But you find out that if we can go as far as the interior, we are in the villages and recruiting people and ensuring the same activities being partaken in universities can also take place in the primary school, the high school, and even the villages. So that is when we are going to have the full inclusion.
Okay, so this one is the 12th annual event for disability guys, and we know our guest, who was our executive guest, is the one who has come up with such an event. So what would you tell that?
I would like to take this opportunity first to say a big thank to him. And to also encourage him to continue with the same work, because service to humanity is service to God. So he's doing a very great thing, and we appreciate for that. And
right.
may he keep the same spirit.
Sawa, sawa.
Yeah.
Right, here we are with Effie. She is the host of Neuro Diaries at DigiTV, and we are so happy actually that she's part of this. And you know, you're doing a great job, Effie. So maybe you can start by introducing yourself. Tell us kidogo about who you are.
All right, so my name is Effie Oworotieno, an inclusion revolutionist. Also, I host the Neuro Diaries segment. Yeah, so I refer to myself as an inclusion revolutionist just because I tend to champion for inclusion everywhere I go. Yeah.
All right, so what do you think about today's event? It is the 12th annual event for, you know, the people with disability in terms of sports, you know. So how has the experience been according to you?
It's been amazing simply because these are adaptive cycles that we in Kenya, I can say, we haven't get to interact with them, so we don't really know how they function. And for persons with disabilities, this is the only comfort zone for them. So as much as they thought it's cycling for them is limited, just because they are the cycles that the standard bicycles that we have cannot accommodate them. So with the adaptive cycles coming in, we are very glad to be part of this amazing initiative.
All right, and talking of adaptive cycle, do you think that we have enough infrastructure in our country that could accommodate actually cycling in Kenya?
As at now, I'd say we do not have. Probably if we have somebody on the higher board championing for us, or probably taking the initiative to go and fight for them in order to even have the spaces for cycling, because you realize the adaptive cycles need a lot of space, not like the standard bicycle. So if we have somebody, or I would send a message to the higher above to
the government.
to make it easy for persons with disabilities.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So, what do you think? Have we done enough as individuals to support people with disability? What can we do to improve in terms of, you know, ensuring that we spread, you know, awareness about people with disability and make sure at the end of the day we include them even in such things like sports?
So as I always say, inclusion should be your everyday initiative. So in every person with a disability that you meet, give them time, because you realize with them you have to be patient enough to listen what do they want, because they are the most expressive. Even if they are not expressive enough for you to know that this is exactly what we need, take your time to understand how they operate, and in that way you'll find yourself going to spread the message to somebody else, and that is creating awareness. So like the event that we have today, just go and tell somebody, one person. It will spread to a number of people you wouldn't even imagine. Just say you are at an event that had inclusive bicycles, and then these bicycles are the ones that accommodate people with disabilities. So inclusion should be an everyday initiative for everyone, to make everyone feel accepted.
All right.
Yeah.
So Effie, I have to ask this. Why do you have a soft spot for people with disability?
Well, this came about because, I don't know if you know, but I have two siblings with autism. So I am the one who has been championing for them. So I realized apart from them, there are a couple of other people that I need to champion for. So I decided, why not? It's a huge number of people with disability that need to be supported, be a voice to the people with disability. So that's how I got myself into this.
All right. Thank you so much, Effie. That was Effie, host at DigiTV, who hosts Neuro Diaries together with Madam Esther. And thank you so much. You're doing a great job, and we hope that you continue doing this, because I feel like it's a calling, right?
It is.
It is.
It is.
All
you
right.
feel very, very good. I'm looking for the word.
Satisfaction.
You feel very accomplished when you go to bed knowing, or satisfied, knowing that you've gone home and impacted a life. So, I mean, take your time, do something to the community. Don't just live and die without something to be remembered about.
All right.
All right.
Thank you so much. That has been the 12th annual event for people with disability. My good name is Alessandra Mwangi.
KCCL students, please just start coming to join the photo session. KCCL students, just come at the front, come slowly, then be standby for the next photo. You'll join in the next photo. Just come so that